there's always a constant relationship between the mind and the body. That's why sometimes you have to call it the body mind and mind body, or whatever case you want to call it. You understand? So the mind can also, or the body can also become the mind. And some mystics and some people, some religions also believe that it is the mind that creates the body and not the other way around. It's not the body that creates the mind, but it's the mind that actually creates the body. So that being said, if you understand this concept alone, then you can change your reality. Then you can actually, be in control of your reality. And this is as simple as the fact that I said the other time that the mind creates the body. So it means that you can change, or you can influence the content of your mind. You can actually take your power back from external influences by being intentional about the kind of thoughts and beliefs that you invite into yourself. Now, like I said, seeing is belief, is believing, and believing is seeing. So you can influence your beliefs by your thoughts, and you can influence your beliefs by the things that you decide to create as images. I just remember just this scripture. It says that casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. And what is God? The generator, the operator, and the destroyer. So anything that comes against the knowledge of that I am, you can cast it down. You understand? You can cast it down and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Now, in my previous episode, I talked about the fact that as a poor man is actually, nobody wants to be poor, quote and unquote. It is not any man's desire to be poor. But even if you ask a poor man now that, do you want to be rich? He will tell you, yes, I want to be rich. But in actual reality, the poor man is thinking of, why am I not even rich? What am I not doing rightly that is not attracting the wealth to him or whoever it is? So now the issue about that poor man is that there are belief system in the mind of that poor man. There are belief systems that are being tightly held on to at a subconscious level. At a subconscious level, that person is holding on to beliefs, is holding on to dogmas, is holding on to perceptions that he is not even aware of, and that is why we call it subconscious. In fact, you can even call it unconscious. You understand? So the goal of what I'm trying to talk about right now is to bring you into that subconscious state. And the truth is, the conscious mind is like 5% of the matter. We can just think that, if you try to be conscious of everything, you're trying to get to a point that you just start behaving in ways that you now be a question. How did I do that? People be telling you, look, did you realize that you just did this thing right now? And you'll be wondering, for example, something happened to me yesterday, and I paid some money into for a training, and after paying the money, it now dawned on me that, why did I do this? I did that thing somehow, like it was unconscious, but even though I thought it was conscious, it was after I did it and I started asking myself questions like, how did I do this thing? Like, what got to that point? So I actually sat down and I analyzed it, and I realized that, okay, this is something I've been subconsciously preparing in my mind. But by the time the action took place, it just happened. And after I took the action, at some point now, after the action, I'm now asking myself, why did I do this? How did I do this? But thank God for the fact that I had to separate myself and started probing, my mind, and I started seeing the result of it. Okay, this is what I did. Okay, this is the reason. I've been thinking about this thing and I didn't realize that I've been thinking about it. And that's the interesting part. Many people have been thinking and they've not realized that they've been thinking. You know, the essence of what I'm trying to say here is that come to a point where you are realizing your thoughts, you are aware of your thoughts. You know, be the observer. And very interesting, you know, this teaching is actually helping you to become the observer of your thoughts. You know, there are a lot of thoughts going on within you constantly. These things are going repeatedly. There are thoughts that have been imposed upon you by, most of the times, the environment. You understand? Some people have been born into poor families. Some people are born into rich families. You know, anybody that is born into a rich family is already used to seeing beautiful things. You know, you are familiar with beautiful environment. You know, you don't even know what it means for you to not have money in your bank account. You know, it's just a natural thing. You grew up in that environment for 20-something years of your life, and that has, or 20-something or 30-something years or 50 years of your life, you live in abundance. So that kind of person does not know what it means to be poor. Like, it's just like, is it possible for you not to have money? Like, it's not possible for that person. But for someone that has been living in an environment where it is all round poverty, you understand, you know, subconsciously, even though the person desires to be wealthy or to become a billionaire or whatever, you know, the person needs to really start identifying with the fact that, okay, I came from a poor background, and it's actually going to influence his or her decisions in life. That's the real truth. So now, how can you now change that reality? Is number one, changing your beliefs. And when I talk about changing your beliefs is not changing it at a conscious level. I'm talking about changing your beliefs at a subconscious level. There are thoughts that has been going on in the mind without you actually knowing that you are thinking about it. You know, and some of the thoughts, they are not in words. And you know, thoughts, most of the times, they are not words, they are energy forms. That's why if there's a scripture in the Bible that says, I think it was Paul that was saying it, he said, the words that we speak are spirit and life. So words are not just letters. That's why sometimes they call it spelling. Spelling means spells, you know, which is witchcraft. They understand this thing. They will talk about, they use spells a lot, you know. Words are spells. So even when we are communicating, as I'm talking to you right now, 20% of what I'm communicating is just words. The other 80% is energy. So when I'm talking to you right now, the energy behind the words is more important than the language. So, like Dr. Bruce Lipton said, language have been designed to hide intention. Language has been designed to hide feelings. Language has been designed to hide energy. So, when you are reading scripts, when you are reading books or something, it is not the words that matter. It's what that word is trying to, the energy behind the words is what is more important. So, growing up, some of us, we've heard a lot of words. For example, I remember I was in church one day and a so-called pastor's wife was seated near me. Of course, I've known her for a long time, and she said something very powerful. Now, is it powerful? It's not really powerful, but I didn't know that I held onto that word that she spoke, and she said something. She looked at me and said, you think you're going to be richer than me? You cannot be richer. You can't be rich. You can't. No. I had not even said anything before she said that kind of thing to me. I was just looking at her like, what did I do to merit this thing that this woman is telling me right now? So it meant that deep in her heart she does. That's the way I interpreted it at that time. I don't think this woman likes me. She does not really like me. Like, am I a threat to her? You know, why is she saying that kind of thing to me? Like, she literally was telling me that I can never be rich. And she said I can never be richer than her. And I was not even talking to her in the first place. So, those kind of words, if you are not careful, it will form energy patterns in your life. But you will not know. Your heart, what happened to me at that time was that my heart trapped that word, and the energy behind it, that thing has now caused a spell. So, you will not know. You just realize that you are doing things and things are not working. You will not realize that those words have been generating by repetition. In my previous episode, I talked about the fact that words, thoughts, by repeating those words, by repeating it in your mind, your mind has a way of repeating those things, and as a repetition will lead to energy. Repetition of words or thoughts leads to your vibration. Vibration will lead to your aura or your radiation. Radiation will lead to your aura, and your aura will lead to your energy, and your energy will now lead to your lifestyle, and your lifestyle becomes your personality, and your personality becomes your personal reality. So that is how your personal reality is being formed by just spells, by just words. Words are spells. So those words can now form your belief system. So my advice to you is check those words that has been installed into your program. I'm also a victim to these things. Actually, the truth is there's nobody that is free from everybody in one way or the other. We have a lot of thought forms that we are battling day by day. Growing up, we've watched some films, we've heard a lot of things actually growing up. We've heard a lot of words. Another example is one day I was at work with a so-called senior colleague, and this guy told me to my face that I'm ugly. He said, "You are very ugly. In the midst of you and your brothers, you are the ugliest." And I looked at him and I was like, okay, I didn't take it seriously. Like, okay, no problem. And do you know that, like, 10 years later, yes, I think 9 or 10 years later, I was in church one day, and I think I was in that program, and this pastor was actually talking about we started praying really about breaking generational curses and all these things. As at that time, I didn't really give a damn about it, but I just thought that, okay, let me join in this prayer session and stuff like that. And as I was praying, I just had a feeling from my heart, and that feeling just translated into a thought. And that thought was actually, it was like I was brought back to my past. Very funny. Like, and right there, it felt like I was sitting with that same brother that told me that I was ugly, and that event played out in my mind. I could not explain it. It was like time travel. It was like a time travel actually. It was as if I traveled back to the past, and that event happened again right there, and I started feeling and thinking about what that man. It was as if he was seated near me, just like what happened 10 years ago, and this guy was telling me to my face that you are ugly, and I was like, oh my God. And right there I started denouncing it. I started disconnecting and detaching from that word. I told myself, I'm not ugly, I am beautifully and wonderfully made. And I kept saying it over and over again, and I mixed my feelings with it, and I started feeling like, oh, I am beautiful. I said it over and over and over again until the feeling just like it became natural, and I stopped. And right there I started feeling this high self-esteem. It meant that, so before that time, I've actually been subconsciously been living a low self-esteem life. Like from that time onwards, my self-esteem started improving. You understand? So what I'm trying to say here is that, you see, there are thoughts, there are beliefs that are running the show at the subconscious level. A friend of mine talked about something very interesting. He talked about he's a software programmer. I think, yes, he's a programmer and stuff like that. And he said something about the word demon processes, DAEMON. He said in in the programming world, in coding world, there's something called the demon process. These are subtle programs. These are programs that are running the show at the foundational level. Like these are the codes that even the programmers are coding on. I don't. So the demon processes, and that's why demons they are actually internal. Someone said something about the enemy. The enemy means the inner me. So demons are not out there; they are in here. So whatever demon that you are creating in your mind is actually inside, or whatever demon that most of the demons that most of us are claiming, we watch them in films, horror films. They create pictures of all these horror films have a way of creating characters that are scary. So we think demons are scary creatures. I've never seen a demon scary from before, but what I'm telling you now, that there are demons inside of you that has been programmed as spells, and these things have repeated over. They have grown so much that over the years, some of us have grown these demons for 20-something years, for 30-something years. You understand? So now, in the subsequent episode, I'm going to be sharing with you practical ways by which you can detach yourself, or you can tell those demons to take their hold off you. There are practical steps, but today I'm just trying to just give you a picture of some of the things that have been happening behind the scenes. You understand? So seeing is believing, and believing is seeing. If you can change your paradigm, then your beliefs can actually lead to physical manifestation. Thank you for watching. I love you. Be inspired by